it's Amy with Mommy Scrapping, and I'm here with a new Mixed Media Monday video for you. This is my daughter Elizabeth laying on the floor and laughing with our dog Tucker. I have a series of 3 of these videos that I was planning on using, but ended up taking some inspiration and only choosing one of them. I have a variety of different mixed media things I wanted to try. I've got 2 different colors of embellishment mousse that I've pulled by Nuvo. I have Nuvo Jewel Drops, I have Stickles, I have this gorgeous Paste-Eez by Shimmerz Paste-Eez, 2 different colors of Glimmer Mist in Sapphire and Dazzling Diamonds, and also the Martha Stewart High Gloss Acrylic Craft Paint. I pulled out my clear gesso to try. I've never used it before. So this is the first time you'll actually ever see me using it. I pulled this punch to do some little stars as well to add to it, and I ended up not using it. I completely forgot about it. So this is the paper that's from my kit for the Secret Not Secret Kit Club. This was my July kit, and a lot of the papers come from Stargazer. I'm almost done with the kit at this point, so I wanted to use up the scraps. Now this blue shooting star paper was my inspiration piece for this kit. I sent it to Christina. I said, can I have a kit based on this? And she put together probably one of my favorite kits. This piece of paper also from Stargazer was in there, and I decided I'm going to use the frame side. So here I'm laying down my clear gesso. Like I said, I've never used clear gesso before, and so I'm jumping in with 2 feet and using it on my favorite piece of paper from my kit, which in hindsight is not the best, but it worked out. I mean, it's a piece of paper. I can always get more paper if I wanted to. I'm not sure how it will dry at this point. It ends up drying very matte. You can see a little bit of the brush strokes, but not really. So I've set it aside to dry, and now I'm pulling my larger pieces of paper, trying to decide how exactly I want them to lay. Normally when I ink my paper layers, I use a black, gray, or a brown. To go with the stars for this one, I decided to pull out my chipped sapphire. I'm going to ink all of my layers and then try to decide how I want them on the paper, if I want them even or not. And I decide to kind of go with them a little off. I like how that looks better. It adds a little more movement to me. So it's time to stick down and then decide what to do with the smaller ones. So a lot of these are the backs of others. I'll use both sides. This is a 6x6 piece. I don't know what it comes from, but I love that the yellow color, which shows up in actually a lot of the papers, but it has that little pink heart on it. And this is the back of obviously the back of the other side with those words, but I'm trying to figure out where I cut it from, and I can't quite figure it out. I love the words, but they don't quite go with what I'm scrapbooking, like the one that's got a phrase on road trips. So, love to go on road trips, I think is what it says. And that really doesn't work. Doesn't work for what I'm doing it for. And actually, I don't particularly like going on road trips very much. But I'm still going to show that little bit at the top because I'm going to end up covering up a lot of that, so you only see really the word love. And even then, you don't see a lot of it. And I'm trying to place it on the yellow so that you get the idea that those are hearts and not some squiggly border at the top, but still can see the pink heart at the bottom. And this diagonal stripe, which has the rain clouds with the rainbow raindrops, they're so cute. I would love to be able to figure out a way to use more of that paper, but it's, as much as I like it, it's not something that really goes with a lot of the pages I'm doing lately. So I'm just trying to practice and line up, and it's kind of at this point that I realize I'm using my phone to record the video, which doesn't seem like, you know, a big deal, but when I do layers like this, I usually grab my phone and take a quick snapshot of it so I have something to refer back to, and I can't do that. So I'm feeling a little lost. I'm leaving the wide blue at the bottom because it's going to end up being where I put my title, and so that's why I decided not to trim it. I'm going back and forth, and I want to make sure I line it up well. So I'm kind of going back and forth with the layers. And here I am making sure I've got that row of hearts visible at the top. I cut off a little bit of the bottom, but you still know that they're hearts and you know that the pattern continues. And then I want the raindrops visible on the side as well. Get that all stuck down. And here are the 3 frames I decided to cut out of the Stargazer paper. That paper is Fine Joy. It's the name of it, which I realize I've got that one on there. And so I'm just trying to place my different framed words around my layers, tucking them inside different layers. So I spared you the pain of watching me fussy cut those out because I hate fussy cutting. I do it every once in a while, mostly on a layout with my daughter because she's about the only one that's worth it. Go ahead and inking, still in the Chip Sapphire. I like to ink all of my paper layers. I used to ink everything like stickers and background paper. I've kind of stopped doing that recently. So the gesso is dry and I'm turning it, trying to find the right orientation. And then I'm trying to decide where exactly do I want to place the stack of layers in the photo on my paper. And originally I was thinking on the bottom, but then it ends up being very heavy like that to me. So I'm gonna move it up in a little bit. And I was planning on putting that Wild and Free and tucking it under the photo, but it wouldn't fit there without hanging off the page. So needless to say, I had to alter that. So I'm putting in some pencil lines so I know exactly how far down to do the paint. And you can barely see them. They're going to be covered up, so I don't mind putting them on the paper. And it's about here where I'm going, this isn't going to work. I like it more towards the bottom. I just don't want it that much at the bottom. So I moved it up just a little bit. And that will allow you to see the paint that's going to be used. You'll be able to see it along the top and the bottom better. And I'm just talking, apparently. Let's watch me clean my paintbrush. Again, checking placement. And here's where I'm checking to see that this will fit and that it will look good. And then I'm going to try to figure out where exactly I want the wood veneers placed now that I am having to kind of re-plan where to put that Wild and Free frame. And I'm short one wooden star. I like to do things in 3s, but I only had 5 wooden stars. So I'm trying to decide which of the embellishment mousse match better, whether it's the aquamarine or the coastal surf. I end up going with the aquamarine. It's practically a perfect match for the colors in this layout. And I'm just going to use my finger to apply it to the wood veneer. So it gives the wood veneer a nice sheen. And because they're stars, they've got these little nooks and crannies, so I pull out my wooden skewer. I don't know how long I've had this wooden skewer. I'm back from the days of paint made by Making Memories, if that tells anybody anything. And I just use it for little things like this. I have a paper piercer that I could use, I suppose, but I don't know. I always grab the wooden skewer instead. And there you can see I'm just cleaning up some of the mousse then that's gotten stuck in there. And I love that I can use this with my fingers. It dries so fast. That's what impresses me about it the most and why I've ended up picking up other colors now. Because by the time I'm done with these last stars, the first ones are already dry. It just, if you put it on and put it on thinly, it's just so fast. And I'm just impressed by that. Mixed media is something I've not really gotten much into because I hate drying time. I want to get the layout started and finished. I can't start one and put it aside and start another one and put it aside and start a third one and then go back to the first. How I scrapbook, it doesn't work well for my method. I know that works for quite a few other people, just not me. All right. I'm going to clean all this up, and now I'm going to pull out my background. The gesso is dry. I'm pulling out the Martha Stewart High Gloss Craft Paint. It is, the color's Beach Glass. It's very pretty. It came with a kit that I got last fall, and I've not really used it much. I think I've used it once. So that's one of my goals of, I've got it, let me see what I can use it on. So I'm squirt some into this ceramic bowl and added some water. You saw I was trying to test the thickness on my craft mat and immediately wiped it up because I know me, if I left it there, I'd put my arm in it or my photo or something and make an even bigger mess. It was a little thick to begin with, so I thinned it out with a little bit more water because what I wanted was just very light on the page where you could see it as an additional layer, but also see the stars through it. I like the brush strokes in there. I think those look really nice. Adds another bit of texture. And then I'm going to get my other brush, which apparently I didn't clean out from another layout I did. Not as well as I could have. And I'm going to do drops of paint. Looking back, I probably would not do the drops of paint again because they took forever to dry. The brush strokes dried relatively quickly, but these drops kind of drove me a little crazy. So I've set it aside to dry. I've picked up my layers, and now I am going to add this pom-pom border. I had already added it once and filmed it, and then it was really weirdly crooked. I don't know how I got it crooked, but that's why the adhesive's already on the back of it. So I ripped it off and deleted that video, and I'm trying again. So snip it. I already know it'll fit for 2 lengths, so this is what I did before. I just put a strip with my ATG, folded over the little ends that stick out of the adhesive, and then just did my best to line it up. I don't have much pom-pom border. The only pom-pom border I've actually ever used has been in kits that I've gotten from Christina at the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, and this is how I like to use it. I like to put it as a border, kind of like a border strip or a frame or something. I think the last time I had white and I used it as a frame on something. I'm going to go ahead and start sticking in these framed words. And this is the only drawback and why I don't go out and buy this type of pom-pom border on my own, is because it adds that bit that's sticking up, and I end up putting some other things with that fine joy at the top, and it doesn't touch at the back, so it's stuck only to the label instead of the label and the background paper, which bothers me a little bit, but once it goes into a page protector, I don't think it's really going to matter. Now, these are the Color Me Happy letter stickers by Cocoa Vanilla, and I used them on my layout for Bunny. I'm just testing the color, making sure it's the right color, and I think it's indigo. I forgot to check and see. But I'm just going to do the exact same thing I did with the bunny title for the last video I did for Mixed Media Monday. And I'm just coloring in the letters with the colored pencil. It's a watercolor pencil. And then I'm going to go back over it with my water brush and kind of give it that watercolor look. And you can see right there with the G and the H, it does change the look of it. It changes the color tone a bit, but changes the texture of the coloring as well, and I rather like it. The title's going to be Laugh, if you haven't figured that out yet. I'm setting it aside now to dry, and again, dry, dry, dry. Everything has to dry. The brush strokes for the large rectangles of paint are dry at this point. The droplets are not. So I've decided this would be a good time to go ahead and add in the Glimmer Mist. I do add in Dazzling Diamonds, which really was a step I could have skipped because you cannot see it. I can kind of see it because I know it's there and I know to look for it, but I think most people are not going to take any notice. Now the Sapphire, which is that pretty dark blue color, and it's got this beautiful blue shimmer in it, that you can see. And it turned out, for the most part, pretty nice. There's a spot up in the top right I don't like. But I forgot to kind of protect everything when I was flicking it down, and I got those little drops everywhere. I mean, even on my water cup, I am finding them all over. All right, so again, I pull the photo now back out. It's a lot of switching back and forth, which is why kind of mixed media drives me a little bonkers. I'm not one that can usually shift gears like that when I'm in a creative space. So that's why this is a lot of a learning experience for me. So I'm going to go through and pull some stickers out, pull some of the colors that are in the different papers. That green is in the polka dots. It's not really visible anywhere else, but I liked that phrase, "be free." So I go ahead and I want to pull something with the gold foil for each of my 3 embellishment clusters. I can talk, I promise. And I'm going to use these flowers for my embellishment clusters too. The smaller one actually has little gold foiled centers to the flowers. And I'm trying to decide what to do with them. I know I'm going to have the wooden stars. I know I'm going to have these stickers. That was just my adhesive drawer I pulled out. I keep that by my desk. So I'm trying to be conscious of the fact that that left side of that paper is pretty much the edge of my actual background paper. So I'm going to go and add in all my little stars. For the most part, each cluster gets a shooting star, a large wooden star, and a smaller wooden star. The one for You Make Me Happy just gets this shooting star in the smaller one. Like I said, I didn't have a 6th one. If I did, I would have used it. These stars are wonky stars, so they don't match the ones I have. But that You Make Me Happy has that star in the card, so it'll end up working out well. So I'm going to add in the different flower clusters. And I end up moving this cluster a lot. And I stick it down, I end up moving it up higher later on. This particular flower that I'm placing there with You Make Me Happy ends up covering up more of the raindrops, but I don't care. And that shooting star for Find Joy covers up a lot of the word love, but in person you can see it. So now I'm adding in the part with the gold foil. I think this is where I move up those smaller, I'm moving up the smaller flowers. So now everything here is finally dry. I actually had to walk away and do something else because it was taking forever. And I don't know what I'm saying. Alright. Now the paper is curled a lot. This, I don't normally mount my pages, but I end up, off camera, I mounted this layout to another piece of cardstock. Time to finally add the photograph and the layers to the background paper. And I'm trying to straighten it out. Now I haven't used the Paste-Eez by Shimmerz Paints yet, and I'm going to use it in just a moment. I'm going to place my title, Laugh, down in that blue paper at the bottom, and I love that it fits perfectly with the letters. That was not planned, just perfect serendipity right there. And after I place the title, I am going to grab my Wink of Stella brush, which has the, I only have the clear, but it has just a bit of a shimmer, and I go over my title with it just to add a little touch of shine to it. I don't normally do that, but with this layout, with the stars, it just made me think glitter and shine, and I'm not a huge glitter person. I like it if it's something like Stickles or glitter glue, you know, something like that, where it's already stuck down. I do not like loose glitter, which is why I think I like this putting on the glitz so very much. And now I'm going to add in my puffy stars. I love these by Pink Fresh from the mix too. They're just just absolutely perfect. So I'm just trying to test out what colors I like. I decided to go with gray, which, you know, is a neutral to put in. I didn't want to really bring in any other big colors. I had thought about the green and then kind of shied away from that with the big ones because I would want those hand-drawn stars to be in each spot. So I'm going to add in some of the pink stars too, and then the green as well. So I've got the green at the top and the bottom of the You Make Me Happy cluster, but I think it works. I'm going to add it in there, and I kind of try to group some of the stars together, but making sure to put green and pink with each of them. I'm now almost put on my Nuvo Jewel Drops, but decide to go ahead and do the painting with the putting on the Shimmerz Paste-Eez by Shimmerz Paint first. It's very fine glitter. I like it. I didn't paint it as well as I thought I did, but at this point, again, it's subtle, and I like that. Once I'm done painting on the Paste-Eez, then I'm going to go in with my Jewel Drops. I used Sea Breeze, which is a very pretty translucent blue. And in looking at the layout when it was done, I was trying to figure out, did I put on blue and clear, and finally noticed it is actually blue, but it works very well with it. I also add in the Stickles in Midnight Blue. Oh, I do that first apparently. And these dry flat, which is the only drawback I think I have with them, and it's why I haven't picked up any of the Nuvo drops that have glitter in it. I love the three-dimensional enamel dot look, but I already have, I mean, so many dozens of colors and Stickles. I can't bring myself to invest in another glitter paint yet. So here's, I'm going to add in these Jewel Drops as a final touch, and I will consider my layout done. The only thing I really need to do is add the date, and that's it. Thanks so much for watching my video today, everyone. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would love to hear any comments you have on it. And now you're going to see the finished layout, and I'm done. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see everyone later. Bye.